lounging, son.
All right, welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan. Got my boy Eli back.
What up?
Talking Tales of TMNT number 6. We've talked about this issue multiple times. It's tied into Vol.4. So when we decided we were going to, kind of sprinkle in some other Turtles content to go along with our Vol.4 read-through, this was one that definitely, if you've been following along, has implications in terms of, the character. Look at the cover. It's Cha Ocho. Yeah, what a great issue. And it's done by the creative team, right? That did the TMNT Adventures book at Archie.
Yes.
Weird.
And it's interesting. This is a great cover to start off with, but then we get in here and, I've always, Chris Allan is, he's on Facebook these days. You can get in touch with him. He'll do commissions. I got a commission from him and he's really out there. But this Dean Clarrain guy is not out there at all. And even right here where it says Chris has been doing this and that. And then Dean, on the other hand, claims he doesn't even own a computer, never mind have a website. And so I'm like, I had heard before that this wasn't even a real dude, that it was a pen name. And the truth is that Dean Clarrain is not a real dude. It's Steve Murphy and was always Steve Murphy. But he had an issue with the Adventures team or something like that. And he ended up going under a pen name. And I don't think there's a lot of information about why he did it. But I think that he would be a very interesting person to interview to find out a little bit more about the creation of this Dean Clarrain character, who, as you said, is so synonymous with the latter half of the Archie series, which is the best, the Future Tense stuff and Armagon stuff, and so sick.
Yeah, so that'll definitely be something I'll look into.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Murph is the managing editor of these tales, and he wrote this intro, and he's writing about himself. Because they haven't given it away yet. But apparently it was given away, because I looked it up again on Comics Vine here, and it talks about in one of Murph's blog posts, he revealed that Dean Clarrain was a pseudonym he used, but never said the reasons why.
Interesting.
There is a cool backup in this that features the, what do they call it? The Utrami. It's this secret organization of Utroms that we'll see in the fourth book, and then also the dead Dr. Obligado, who was one of my favorite characters because he smokes a pipe, and I thought he was smoking weed in it or something when I was younger, but I'm not really sure he is smoking weed. I think he's just tobacco piping. Anyway, we got a sweet frontispiece here. Is this from Chris Herndon and inked by Dan Berger? Says, I think that's the pinup in the back.
In the back, yeah.
It doesn't really say who this frontispiece is by.
It's not Chris Allan?
I mean, maybe.
Because it's part of the story.
Yeah, that's true. I guess maybe, but
it looks a little different.
It seems so different. Yeah. I'm not sure. But it's got a Bon Scott, rest in peace. He must have just passed. So, and then just like every other Tales story, for those who don't know, every Tales story has a frontispiece like this, usually done by a different artist, which is why I was curious. And then it says, let me tell you a story. Scars. Yeah. So Chris Allan must not have done a book for a while, because there's many panels that are great, but then there's a few that are not great.
It's not the Chris Allan I remembered too, because I don't think I read this one originally. I knew of the cover because I have issue 5, and then I have issue 6, and then I have some issues after. But yeah, I love the fact that this is a very dark story.
Yeah, it's very dark.
That was doing very bright, happy comics,
Right.
So I think that the contrast of that it's an interesting choice.
Yeah, and it's black and white. When every time we saw their art, saw Chris Allan's art, it was in color. The color, I think, did a lot of heavy lifting, and not in a bad way, in a good way. But I do love where this story goes. It's amazing. And so here we see Cha Ocho getting picked up. This is 1984 Chinatown, so he's a little bit older than us. And we go through some nice time, and he's like, let's cut through this alley. It's his decision to go through the alley. Just like Batman's tragic story, he got scared and he had to leave Zorro or whatever, Deflator Mouse, depending on whatever. They're like, oh yeah, come on. Alleys are a great place to get mugged. And that's exactly what happens until you see,
So
the
good.
shadow on top who jumps over, and that's it. And he comes out, and this Chris Allan panel, like, he never has an issue with the turtles. I think his turtles are always insane looking.
I agree.
Man, yeah. So this is just beautiful.
Yeah, his turtle, like just the first like image of like when Leo jumps in kicking, and then you go to the following page where it's like all the panels at the top. Just the first one on the left, I'm like, oh my god, the memories of like Archie
Yes.
Comics Turtles.
Yes. The eyebrows in the mask was like a
Yeah.
major Chris Allan thing. And dude, the bottom tier here, first panel with just these little like white accents. Beautiful.
Oh yeah, phenomenal.
And so he saves Cha Ocho and his mom, which like starts this thing like, I'm looking up to this like vigilante character, and it sets, the ball in motion for Cha. So we flash forward a couple years to 1998, St. Thomas Church, Manhattan, where Cha is getting married. And instead of getting taken away on one of the classic cars with cans attached to the back, they're like, let's take the subway.
Dude's had a fucked up life.
Yeah, it's very much it's very Spidey in origin here. This kind of like,
Sure, yeah.
yeah.
You're mixing Batman and Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's cool, man. And so this guy's breaking out, and he fires a shot at the cops, hits this new wife, and in even darker turn of events, she gets shot and then falls in front of the subway car and gets run over. Like, that is insane, man.
Yeah, it's
These Tales books, they really could like go all the way. There was no one telling them not to do it,
yeah.
and so they had free reign, and they're just like, damn. And those rent-a-cops are like, oh shit. And Shaw's like, my life.
This is so like I keep saying it, dude, but like just seeing the art style with the type of story, it's
crazy.
so like kind of like not misleading. That's not the word I want to use, but it's interesting that this is what they chose to do, is
Right.
what I'm saying,
I think maybe it like makes it hit a little harder, because
I think so.
because you're immediately thinking of these like, comics you read as a kid, and it hits even harder because it's this character going from like good to bad almost.
Yeah.
And that's what happens here in 1999. A year after that, he quits his job because, what are you telling me? The case is fucking cold? Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I love that too,
Swings
how
it.
he throws his badge and it
Sticks in the wall.
Yeah.
Man. Showing his like ninja-ness already. I mean, he's probably already training as a ninja to fight. He looks up to this ninja. He looks up to the turtle. And so then later on, a year later, and he's training for the Foot.
I love this.
And yeah, and these are these like later Foot Clan outfits that we see, especially in Volume 4.
Right.
Where they've gone good or whatever.
I like the design of the Foot outfits.
Yeah,
with this one.
Yeah. And I mean, he beats this trainer. He's like, do I got the juice? I got the juice.
I got more juice than Minute Maid and Tropicana combined. When I read that, I laughed out loud. I was like, dude, it's not just Laird that does the corny dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And hey, I mean, Murphy wrote Puma Blues too. So that guy can do pathos. He can do real shit, deep shit, but he can also do the jokes. And he graduates top of his class. I guess that's Karai being like, good job, y'all. Here's your mask. And here's in this bottom panel, this is I think the biggest offender of like, this is like, I would draw this, I feel like, because I feel like my characters sometimes lack weight or lack like a knowledge of how the body actually works. This seems a little weird to me. But
the pose is a little, well, the arms are like,
it's a hard angle too.
Yeah, well, it's like, it looks like his left arm is back behind his body. Same with the right also.
But the body is also coming here in front of this arm, which is right, which then makes the eye like not get the full body line, but it is there. So it's, as an artist, that makes me want to be like, study some more and think about it, which is good.
Sure.
So even if it's bad, it makes the artist in you be like, oh, I do that too. And I also need to be better. All right. So then we flash forward another year, and this is back at the police station that he worked at, and he's breaking in. He's like, this is classic. Cop quits. Cop breaks back in to steal his wife's case.
Oh
Great
man, I love
art.
that shot, dude. And dude, he did the
This one
tail.
here.
He did the tail there. They never did that in
Oh,
Archie.
that's right. Yeah. He's trying to make it real because this is in the Mirage continuity. You know, this isn't Archie continuity. And so here he comes and he's like, my, a foot soldier breaking into the police station. They meet again. And this is where he says it. This is where he says it like, you know, I remember you. You saved me as a kid.
I know. I
I
love the
like,
flashback.
yeah.
The contrast of seeing him as a kid and like his reaction to seeing Leo, and then you see him as an adult, and he still almost has that childlike awe in his
Yeah.
eyes.
The back and forth is perfect. It's like in a movie, you know, where you like see the pain in their eyes and it would like really quickly like cut back and forth from like the child's face to the adult's face, you know, like his innocence flashes before his eyes. And he starts to explain his case here, and Leo's like, okay, all right, because something that I think they developed later in Leo is this like love loss in his like heart. Like Leo will always react to like a story of love because I think he believes in love. You know, Raph definitely doesn't. Mikey probably will never understand it. Donnie's like it never even occurs to him, but like Leo like does believe in love. And I think he maybe even had like this love for Karai at different storylines. And so like this he believes in, and he's like, okay, I can help you with this, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not
like
going to
that.
bust you. So he brings him to the den, to the sewer den, which is kind of like, what?
And he's like not even like because he's like not even like weirded out at the fact that there's more than one turtle. There's a giant rat right next to you.
Yeah, and he's like
that.
And I guess the Foot has gone straight, and they've worked with Foot, and they're friends with Karai at this kind of point. But these splinters, I think, are a little weak too. His splinter used to be
agree.
bomb this bottom face, but it's all good. You know, Chris Allan, he killed it on this anyway. But
yeah.
And then
I love that shot that you're hovering over right there.
Right here that they bust in. Yeah, it's so sick. That's very like Return to New York, kind of like dynamic. And they just busted into like, where is he? You know, it's a very Batman thing, like busted into like the bad dude's bar. Larry McKinney, where is he? And this is like they just searching for him. They got a tip on the killer, and they're going after it. And he's like, dude, hold on. You weren't gonna like actually cut dude's head off, were you? And he's like, I don't care. Let's go to the homeless shelters. And that's when well, we forgot to say this. Pud Pounder.
Yeah, I would gloss over that. Yeah. but
come on.
But yeah, no, I think it's interesting too, though. Like this is like Leo at first didn't want to trust him because he's Foot, right? Then he's like, okay, I'll help you. But now he's starting to see like, no, dude, like you're a little crazy, dude. Like you're going too far.
Yeah. I wonder where this arm break is from. Because if this is like it said 2001, what storyline was coming out in 2001?
Nothing.
There was
because there was no Turtles comics between Image that volume 3, which became Urban Legends now to everybody listening. 2001 actually is when volume 4 launched. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Volume 4 launched in 2001.
So maybe this
is right before.
This is when Mikey was in the hospital and then was returned from the Katzenberg hospital. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to tell. Yeah,
because like they made it seem like there was way more of a history between them, but then at that point, is there really not that much time that has passed?
Maybe like it's a fresh wound. That's why he's so prickly.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like when they do little things like that because it kind of helps you or makes you makes you think. Now this face right here, I feel like it's straight out of the Donnie Micro. Like I remember seeing that and I was like, oh, whoa. All right. So he's like, let's hit the homeless shelters, which brings them right back to St. Thomas Church where he was married. And he's like, dude, I cannot do this. He's like, dude, I can hear your pulse quickening over here.
I love this, dude.
Yeah, man. So they go in. I mean, he sees him right there. He grabs him right out of his box. He's like, it's you, Larry McKinney. Smash. You remember doing this? And he's like, I do. Yeah, dude. I know
it's crazy that he just acknowledges it because, like, he didn't even
the
try
other
to
guy
get out
said
of it.
No. And the other guy said earlier, too, something like, oh, something happened to him. He's never been the same, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it did affect him.
I love that Leo calls him out too. There's no honor in killing. None. As a
Yeah.
warrior who follows the code of Bushido, you should know that revenge has no place. There's only honor. And
Yeah.
he's like, "What do you mean? This is about honor of the
Yeah.
highest kind."
Yeah. It's not revenge. It's like an eye for an eye. It's like the oldest story in the book. And dude's back here like, okay, I'm just gonna like go.
Flip out. Yeah.
And he's like, look, he's making a run for it. And this flash too, he like sees him now, sees him then, and he just flicks over.
Yeah.
He's like, and he thwacks Leo back and just lunges, cuts his hand off, which he had this knife in, which is going to become important in a second. And then he's like, dude, and Leo's like, Cha, no. And he's like, Cha's like, yes.
I know. You see like no remorse in his eyes, dude.
Nah, I mean, I don't think I think I would be the same place.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah. Like, and he just slices it, and you see this panel of the crucifix above him getting splashed with blood as he says, "For Kate, his wife," and he's like, dude. And this is what makes this story, sets it apart from a lot of these stories and movies where they're like, don't kill him, and he's like, I won't. You got me, stop me. They don't. Leo doesn't manage to stop him, which I think makes their relationship even deeper because it's a failure on Leo. They both feel a sense of failure, and they both feel a sense of succeeding. And
sure, because like Leo's like helping him, so he was right there along
Right.
there, so he's almost implicit in that.
Right. If Leo didn't help him, would he have met him? Would he have got to kill this guy? And
Right.
he's like, how do you feel? How does it make you feel? He's like, fucking good, dude. I feel awesome,
Yeah.
So funny. So we don't know if it kills him later, but I don't think it really will.
No.
And Leo's like, all right, dude, I'm going to teach you a lesson about honor. And he picks up dude's knife and he's like, let's do this. I'm going to teach you a thing about honor with this pocket knife. Pick up this blade and let's go. And Leo is not a teenager at this point.
No, he's a grown. He's an adult,
and he's got a bit of this like master in him. He's had time to master his skill, and he's like, I'm going to teach you a thing or two right now. And Cha is like fully consumed by vengeance, not concentrating. And Leo's like, I got you, dude, and I'm going to teach you something
with a pocket knife.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he's like, look out, dude, you're going to cut your dang fingers off. And he keeps going, and somehow he breaks the Bushido blade. Or sorry, not the Bushido blade. Isn't that a Nintendo game? Yeah, the Kitana. And then he does this massive thing. He cuts his face.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Like,
a mark of shame. Wear it well, and he fades off into the shadows. Fuck, man. He's like, I hate him. I hate you.
So good.
You are my son, Cha Ocho. You are the chosen one.
And I love the panels where the pocket knife is just sticking on the ground.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And he takes that pocket knife and keeps it. And so then we see him on the train. He's like thinking about this thing, thinking about this now another thing where he killed the killer, but it changed his life. He keeps that pocket knife and he eats this delicious apple. Well, he ends the story with the line that began the story. Let me tell you a story. Damn, dude.
Yeah, really good.
Great tale right there. We get some of these. I love this. Like Utrom on an Apple computer here.
Sure, yeah.
Got some good stuff. And now these, we can quickly go through this backup because it definitely ties in, and it's Lawson and Murph. And like, it's really interesting. We get this crazy character, which is definitely a Lawson creation.
It's called The Raisin, this story. I love it.
Right. And it refers back to a previous story that they made called The Grape. And so that was, I can't remember that story, but we might hit up all these towards the end, and they see like the dead Utrom. I don't know if it is Professor Obligato or not, but it might be. And they find the dead one, and they're like, she's like, well, this Malikos.
Yeah, Malikos.
Yeah, is like able to animate dead things in order to get information out of them. And so this character here, this detective character too, I think comes in a few different Obligato stories. And this has a big reveal about her, because
Yeah.
we'll see her in Vol.4, I'm pretty sure. And so they just battle it out for a little bit, and then that's when it's this big reveal that under these boobs is a neutron.
Yeah, and she also she talks different. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't talk like
Yeah, she
evil.
talks normal because this is like a highly advanced
Yeah.
body that they built.
That's pretty dope, dude.
So that's a really cool panel by
Yeah, I
Lawson,
loved it.
Or by Lawson, yeah. And it, you know, continues like, and they're like, you know, Utrom do not shoot on Utrom, the Utrom Preservi, which is like these renegade kind of like vigilante Utroms that, you know, have this greater purpose. It's really interesting that the way the Utrom people grow, and you see that there's good and bad. And I think in Vol.4, they turn from being like everyone thinks, oh, Krang, evil, Utrom, there's always villains, to at the end of Vol.4, they're actually like kind of cool. And Professor Obligato turned out to be a very, very interesting character for me.
Yeah, I love the Utroms. I love how they've really built them out more so with Vol.4 than you ever saw them really. Like they were in the
you're ever
comics, but
gonna
they
see him.
yeah.
Kills
So,
it. And this another great pinup, pulse pounding pinup.
yeah, another really great issue of Tales, dude. We definitely have to do more of this volume of Tales, because unlike the original volume of Tales, which was all basically the same creative team, this is like Rick Remender
Rick
fucking
Remender gets
writes.
a start. Yeah.
You know, like that's pretty crazy to think about. Like I
Yeah,
always
it's
forget
amazing.
that he wrote a Turtles comic.
Yeah.
But yeah, great issue. I
Yeah.
can't
There's a
wait
lot
to.
of great creative teams. Some people that only do it like once or twice here in these books. We see the return of the Cowboys of Moon Mesa. They come in.
Uh-huh.
Ryan Brown created them, and he was a Turtles guy. And yeah, I love this run.
Yeah,
I love
we'll
this
definitely do some more going forward. And I hope you guys dug that one. Make sure you check out all the turtle episodes we got on the channel. There's a playlist that's at the end of every video that we do. You can also search for it, and make sure you follow Eli. Links down below. Comic Lounge links down below as well. Hit the subscribe button and bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid goes up. And on that note, we're out.
Shell, yeah.